Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's another episode of Venture Maidens, episode 23. Yes. Welcome, everyone. I'm very, very excited for today because we're doing some interesting stuff and some interesting things happened last time at our story. But before we dive into the recap and all that sweet business, hey, everyone, we're the Venture Maidens. We're a D&D actual play stream that converts into a podcast that you can find everywhere. New episodes launch every other Sunday. This is in a very adult-themed stream, so we don't recommend that children, like babies, don't watch this stuff. Specifically for this episode and probably the next couple of episodes, we have some content warnings to bring up. So we have body horror, which is just kind of a permanent tag that we keep on here. We have psychological horror, so that can include things like themes of madness, suffering, that sort of thing. And then we also have fantasy approximations of real-world religions is going to come up in this, specifically Catholicism or Christianity general themes. So if those are things that are triggers for you, or you are not in the place to listen to, this may not be the show for you to watch / listen to. But with that, I think that's it. So hey everybody, my name is Celeste Konowich, and tonight I will be your dungeon master.
Hello, I'm Katie, and I'm going to be playing Luverius Sath, your drow rogue.
Hello, I'm Nassim, and I'm going to be playing your half-orc fighter, Tony Silvertail.
I'm Sage, and tonight I'll be your bubblicious bard, Aoife Flannery.
Ooh, bubblicious. Next episode, you can be burpy after bubblicious. I don't know about you, but that's
better out than in.
Yes, we're getting in there. We're getting stinky this episode. We're getting in the dirt.
Not again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Let's
just
roll
what I
in
thought
it.
when we got away.
No, back to the sewers. Haha, that's this whole campaign. No. There will be slime, probably, but I promise it will not be sewage. So, yeah, on that note, hell yeah, let's just dive in and start off with a little recap. What the heck are we doing here? What happened last time?
Oh boy, we started off in the woods just outside of the town of Storyville, the Changeling Village, and when our dear rogue here, Lou, had caught the first sight of something creeping, some monster that was creeping through the woods, which has been stalking and has taken a victim of one of the Storyville people, dear sweet Hayden.
Hayden.
Yeah.
And so we were confronted by this horrifying monster, which was like this wicker creation, which has like launched into its head betwixt a set of large antlers, was like this wicker sort of creature. And oh boy, did it mess with Lou.
Yeah. That was a fight between you and that thing, for sure.
Woo.
I tried not to take it personally, but it was saying some pretty shady shit to me, so.
Yeah, its way of fighting was just like beating down your soul so that you gave in and gave up, and it would consume it, is what it seemed, as it had like one glowing silver eye. And once we finally defeated it, that glowing silver eye seemed to leave its body, and we assumed returned back to its host, Hayden. Which we did go back to the town to confirm that Hayden had come back and it was all good. The townspeople celebrated us as we all pawned off the celebration to Aoife so she could enjoy the glory. And then myself and Lou went back to Penny's room that we had rented out to try and do some investigation. And we did find a loose floorboard that inside had contained like a small rectangular parcel and an envelope. We opened the envelope.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, and that the owner of the tavern who had owned the Pendragon Inn had given, for our good deeds, had given us the key to open up the safe that was in Penny's room, and said, well, all right, if clearly had been safekeeping it for worthy adventurers to come through. Yeah, and what was in the parcel?
There was a letter from Penny saying that we could either wait there for her, she comes and goes quite a bit, or if it's been a while, then we should come and see her in the book, or use the book, read the book to come and find her. And it was a book of Alice in Wonderland, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Which is the
so
actual name of the book for those who are maybe had to look it up because, whatever.
Because we're all not literary nerds like you.
Oh no, I mean, it was me. I had to look it up. I was like, was it actually called Alice in Wonderland? And I was like, I know one was Through the Looking Glass, but no, it was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Yeah, and we decided to rest up and regain our strength first before we did that, which we did. And then we decided, all right, here we go, into the book.
You jumped the hell right
also,
into that
Aoife
book,
started a mail delivery service.
Oh, yes.
For the changelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, well, while we have the advantage of the chicken hut and we can magically send mail, she's like, well, if you all want to talk to your family, why don't you all just give me letters addressed to your family and I'll send them out to them? And so they all were like, oh my God, thank you so much. You all are so amazing. And so now I'm sure if or when we return to the Pendragon Inn, there's going to be a Santa Claus-sized bag of letters that Aoife, which she swears she will do by herself, will carry back to the chicken hut so that she can send it out.
Yes. So you made a lot of changelings extremely happy that day. Yeah, so cool. Do you remember anything else that Penny mentioned in the letter? She had a couple interesting things to say.
She said, if you're looking to kill me, don't even bother.
Don't bother,
you're not
sweetie.
worth my time anyways. That's cute.
Listen.
I think it said fucking scrubs in there
I think
somewhere.
it said-
Get good.
Yeah.
And the head said,
I think
read
it's a
read
dab,
the story and then you'll be transported. And Lou did us the honors.
Tony did.
Oh, Tony did.
Tony read us a story.
I read the letter.
Yeah.
That's
Against
right.
my
You read the
volition.
letter.
Sweet. All right. Great recap. Hell yeah. Let's do it. Let's get weird. Let's get wild. All right. So, yeah, that is exactly where we are picking up. So you all last time had endeared yourselves to the changelings of Storyville. One, by defeating this hideous, horrible monster that had stolen the soul of one of the villagers, a young boy named Hayden. You had defeated that thing. Hayden got his soul back. Everybody loved you guys. Aoife offered to deliver a bunch of mail. You are freaking heroes. So things worked out great. You got their help. One, just finding the fact that there was this hidden safe in Penny's room. And then two, you got the key to the safe from a changeling freely given was the condition. So you received that key. And you had opened the letter. Penny said, yeah, basically, oh yeah, if I'm not around, come on into my house. But yeah, if you come into my house, I'll kill you for sure if you're here to kill me. So, that's cool. But dive on in. So you followed her instructions, read the book. Lewis Carroll is now canonically in the world of Venture Maidens. And then, so we had left off with Tony reading the beginning of this story. And as the words about this young girl on a lovely summer afternoon, passing time away until she saw a strange rabbit with a pocket watch fall down a well. So she went in after it. And as the words are hitting your ears as Tony reads them, the world had begun to spin a bit. And as you're reading the description of falling and falling, as Alice tumbles over and over herself and begins to see strange things emerge through the darkness as she appears in a world so unlike the one she was just in, you too all find yourselves transported somewhere else. But before you land, we're starting with a dream? Or is it a memory? It's hard to tell as you all are in the midst of it. And you feel yourselves, each one of you, sitting very comfortably in like a plush, lavish study of some kind. You can feel, one, you're wearing jammies, at this point, so you're all very comfortable, and whatever that means to you. And you're sitting cross-legged on the floor with like a really thick plush carpet underneath you, and there's like a roaring, crackling fire in the fireplace, and you can see all these, you know, interesting paintings and weapons and stuff hanging on the walls. So wherever you are, it's a very cool place, and you can see that there are other children seated around you, because you yourselves are indeed children, or maybe young teenagers. It's somewhere around there. And all of you are in the presence of this woman, this beautiful, like, raven-haired woman with these, like, shining green eyes. And she is just so lovely. And as you all look up at her, you know, with adoration, she has this large book on her lap right now as she's seated in this rocking chair in front of the fire. And she smiles at each of you and says, "Well, children, today we've got a special treat for you. Since the weather is so gloomy, it feels like a good night for a scary story," she says. And there's like some mumbling and stuff around you. Tony, Lou, Aoife, how do you all feel about scary stories as children? Are you adding to the murmur or terrified? What's going on?
Aoife definitely like has a blanket that's resting on her lap, with this big heavy quilted blanket that she just like pulls up over her little sweet little face and like crumples it underneath her neck, and it's like, you know, looking with big wide eyes.
Lou is like hushing the other children, like, shh, it's not real. Just calm down.
Tony is so excited. She
Yeah.
like jumps up and is like, "Ooh, yes. Oh God, I hope it's about monsters." And then she like leaps up onto all fours and starts leaning forward.
Yeah. So you do, and there's a mixture, I think, of fear and, you know, excitement from all the other kids as they too are reacting to like, ooh, we're gonna hear a scary story. But the chatter eventually dies down, and you all kind of intuitively, I think, lean forward to hear this woman tell you yet another story, yet another delightful story. And as the murmuring dies down and that perfect moment happens and everything's quiet, she cracks open the book, and you can hear the creak of the ancient spine as she flips from page to page. There's perfect silence other than the crackling of the fire and the turning of the page. And with a long, noble finger, she scrolls down this page and taps on it and goes, "Ah. Once upon a time, it was a dark and stormy night in a land long haunted by gloomy memories. But in the little town of Tailmore, memories were the least of the people's troubles. Horrible monsters had begun to rampage across the countryside, killing the locals en masse and stealing their sacred treasures. For decades now, the townsfolk have lived in fear, helpless without the help of their champion, who was lost in a battle with the Shadow Lady long ago. However, things are not as grim as they appear, for even though the champion has disappeared, there are newcomers to this dark land, willing to fight off the hideous monsters. That is, if they can master the monsters within themselves." Yeah, there's a chorus of like, as the intro fades out. And the pleasant light and warmth of this room and the feeling of wholeness and just excitement quickly fades away as noise pours in around you, and damp and cold, and you all are coming to terms with your surroundings. And that happy memory, dream, whatever it was, is banished from your mind as you hear the creatures pounding on the door outside. You've barricaded the doors with everything you can, shoved up everything in this like little shed that you could find up against the walls, but still the hands of the undead are starting to punch through the boards as you are surrounded in this barricade little room. And you hear like a gentle murmuring coming from the priest, the sister, who is sitting on the floor behind you, holding the body of the groundskeeper as he lolls in and out of consciousness with this fresh wound ripped into his shoulder. And we see, the camera sees, 3 of you. 3 monster hunters. 3 human monster hunters in this world. With the zombies at the door. You've barricaded yourselves in here. You're thrown into this. I think all of you are probably rightly confused about what the hell you're doing here. But it's so loud and so tense, and you can feel the bodies that you've jumped into have sweat, like, drenching them, and you've clearly been in this fight for a while. So what do we see? And when I say human, like, actual mortal humans, like in a medieval world, what do each of you look like? So Tony, what does human Tony look like? Human monster Tony.
Human monster Tony is still a very tall, strapping young woman, but extremely pale. Her vitiligo isn't as easy to tell anymore because it's almost blended with her natural kind of pale, but still has like a not more like a neutral undertone to it. It's not very pink. It's more like on the yellowish side.
Yeah.
And very Eastern features, dark eyes, dark hair, black hair, but it's like slick back tight to her scalp in this perfect little bun in the back. And she's wearing like dark olive colored military green uniform with like a high collar ruffled up to right underneath her chin.
Very cool. And what are you doing right now in the siege? Are you like, so you're in like a little cottage, it appears to be. So this is like maybe like where a groundskeeper might be or something, because there's also a bunch of like tools jammed up against one wall. So stuff you can see, you know, like rakes and shovels and things of that nature. So there's all this weaponry there. There is, again, the sister, so she's in a nun's habit, on the ground right now, holding like a cross at her neck and like maybe chanting a prayer over this person who's wearing like coveralls stained with dirt, and probably safe to assume this is maybe the groundskeeper, the person who lives in this house. So what are you doing? What is Tony?
Tony will grab a rake and something to resemble a shield. Maybe it's just like a plank of wood or a chair that's around the room, and push her body up against the door with the undead trying to break through, and yell out to them, if there's any other escape from this room, you need to find it and get out.
Yeah, and you can feel like the thumping of the corpses against the other side, corpses imbued with a super strength. Something tells you, because right now you're conflicting the memories of like Tony, and then some other memories are in your head, but you get the sense like you've dealt with this before. Like, this is bad, but you've dealt with this before, right? As you feel that thump as these waves of like undead are pounding against your back. And Lou, what do we see of human monster hunting Lou?
Yeah, similar to Tony, Lou's like build and everything is very similar. She's got lighter kind of golden toned skin and just very, very dark brown hair, almost black, that's in the same sort of loose curled style and pulled back. And she has blue eyes piercing through, where it's all just falling into her face. And she's wearing like a dark purple dress that has slits cut in the side where you can see like tall boots and pants underneath, but she still wears like an apron around her waist, and up the sleeves where her rose tattoos normally would be, there's just embroidery of roses on her dress. Cool. And she is just looking around the room and basically finding anything that she can to kind of use her knives to chip away and make into stakes and like sticking them in the ground so that if the doors break, all these zombies are going to charge in and impale themselves and be held back by that in the ground. Yeah. And she was like glancing a look back at this gatekeeper, and she's like, how's he doing? Is he gonna go on us?
And the sister, she's nodding her head. She's like, we have to get out of here. If we can get him to the church, the undead can't get in there, but I can't do anything now without any of my tools. She says, panicked, and she like beads some sweat off of this guy's face. You can see he's unconscious, but he's definitely at least still alive for now. So she says that as you're like ripping up floorboards and whatever, like to stake up this area here. And then Aoife, what do we see? Human Aoife.
Human Aoife. So after the sister says, I don't have any of my tools, and Aoife says, well, I've got something that'll patch them up for a minute. And as she reaches over and she pulls up this big, like heavy, like black leather bag and rips it open, and she just like plunges her hand and pulls out some gauze, and she starts like trying to wrap it around his torso to stymie the bleeding. And she takes a bottle of whiskey that's been thrown over to the side and pours it on it.
Yeah, and even
so
in his unconscious,
Aoife looks like
you see the body like just react to the pain. Yeah,
just convulse a little bit as she ripped off the cork with her teeth and like dunked it on there. And Aoife looks like she has dark skin, and she has the same like sort of rich auburn hair, but it's just all in these like rain streaked curls that are just stuck to her face as she's been sweating and probably running around. And she's wearing this sort of bright green like 18th century dress with the big hips and the very narrow and tight bodice, and over it she's wearing this sort of dirtied and muddied stained like nurse's apron as she's like trying to just throw salves on the sky. And she's like, all right, where's our escape? As she looks to the other ones.
And yeah, the sister looks at the three of you, and she's like, I don't think there's another door. We're gonna have to get through them. We can't let them go off with the remains. We just can't. I will note also, Rook was definitely there when you read the book altogether, but Rook is not here now. Apparently, it's just the five of you. Rook is nowhere to be seen.
Lou is still working on her sort of put together barricade, and she's like, right, the remains, remind me again about the remains.
Well, the remains of Saint Oslo and the litany. Clearly the dead are after it.
Hey, will Tony make a hole for us and we'll try and barrel our way through? Sister, you and I each take an arm. Lou, you try and hold off any ones who make it past Tony. We'll get through this. She hucks the cork onto the ground, grits her teeth.
Yeah.
All right, stay as close behind me as you can.
And the sister says, may the Lord have mercy on our souls. She crosses herself. What? Yeah, that would be weird. Yeah, because Lou, the Lord? Yeah, what? As she stands up, and the big rosary swings around her neck here. And so Tony, you are going to bust open the door.
I'm gonna open that door, and like with chair in hand, rake in the other, like try and keep as much distance, create a wall for us to walk through.
And I will say, like, you all do have weapons and tools, and I think you can have everything that you would have had on your person, like whatever the approximation of this would be. So I don't think it would be weird for, a Van Helsing style fighter Tony to have a shield and a big ass sword. Like, I think that's totally fine. So, and obviously knives and that sort of thing. Like magic items are going to be a little more challenging, but the world you're in, you have them, and the world you're in seems to conflate like logic and stuff to make these things work. So you can still use all your abilities, all of your spells, all of your magic items. They might just look a little bit different in this world. So yeah, so Tony, as you go to like burst open the door, which is really just a matter of kind of standing back for a minute as that wave of undead pours in here, and you can see zombies filling up the door that have been kind of piling on top of themselves to get at you all. And these people are all humans. You can tell all of the zombies are humans in various states of decay, but all of them are wearing like formal clothes, like nice clothes, like what you would be buried in. And you can see as the zombie horde, like some of them are thrown to the side by your blow. Some of them like collapse on top of each other, and as you like bash out, you're making away, and pieces and corpses go flying. The rain from outside hits you, and everything is cast. It's maybe dusk, or maybe the early hours, like just before dawn. And so the sky is just completely covered in gray, like these heavy storm clouds, rain and mud. And all around you, you can see the small graveyard that surrounds the church. There are just holes, like muddy holes, where all of these corpses seem to have been coming out of. They are raising from the church grounds themselves. And you are in one like corner of the church grounds here in this little cottage, and you can see maybe 100 feet away or so the small chapel that clearly the sister was talking about here, and you can see like a wooden sign in like a flash of lightning. It says the Pendragon Church across the doors here. And but between you and that, oh boy, there are a lot of undead. And Tony, why don't you go ahead and also, since you're the first one on the scene, give me a perception check.
Alrighty. That's 14.
Okay. I think you're probably a little busy with what you're doing as you're bashing through and pushing your way and carving a hole here. So Aoife, you are taking with the sister, you're propping up this guy, and are you going in the middle, or I guess where are you, Lou, in this? What's the marching order here?
Lou's kind of on the side, like kind of diagonally behind Tony, just picking off all the ones that don't get hit with like the initial bash through.
Okay, cool. All right, so Aoife and the sister and the groundskeeper are right behind you, Tony. You can feel them just dragging through as you are slashing through zombie after zombie. And these things, of course, immediately, if you don't, some part of you knows, like, if you don't cut the head, like, these things are going to keep coming. So you try as often as you can, but every once in a while, a severed arm will crawl towards you on the ground or something. Like, you've got a whole mess of shit in front of you. So let's roll some initiative right now as we are trying to get to the church, that sweet consecrated ground.
Aw, yeah. Aoife got a 15.
Okay.
Tony got a 9.
Okay.
I got a 13.
All right, 13. And then both the sister and the groundskeeper are non-combatants, so they're commoners. Everyone in this world is a commoner because that's how core works. So
we cannot fuck up.
Basically, one hit and they're dead. Like, commoners have like 10 HP. Okay. All right. Luckily, zombies. These are slow zombies. They're not fast zombies. Okay. All right. So Aoife, we are starting off with you, as you are surrounded on all sides. Tony is doing the bulk of the work, keeping these things off of you, but there are absolutely still ones that coming in from the side, especially because the severed limbs can crawl by themselves and get you, like, and every once in a while maybe a hand like pops out of the earth. So there are plenty of things around you. So let's say in this immediate group, there are 10 zombies like immediately surrounding you. So right now you've got like 2 on both sides of you, to your left and to your right, Aoife. And then let's say 4 coming at Tony here, and then 4 in the back behind Lou.
So Aoife will sort of saddle the groundskeeper onto the sister for a moment and take a step off and try and angling as many as she can into a 15-foot cone. She'll yell to the sister. Do we know what the sister's name is intuitively, or?
Yeah, it would come to you when you think about it, because you're like, do I know? And then Sister Dorothea.
And Aoife yells out, Sister Dorothea, give me a prayer.
And she basically hasn't stopped praying since you left, but she goes a little bit louder as she starts, Thou Father Heart in heaven, hallowed be thy name, as she's like going over the top of this calamity.
Yeah, with the rumbling of thunder and the scrabbling of zombies, and Aoife will like repeat it line after line after her, and where she would normally stomp her little foot, you just hear this clack of a buckled heel as it squelches into the mud as she casts Thunder Wave, trying to angle as many as she can into a 15-foot cone.
Whoa, cool. I think you can probably get definitely at least the 2 on probably just the 2 on your left, let's say, or if you want to be on the left and the sister is on the right, do you want to get which one do you want to get? The left or the right?
We'll go off, get the ones coming in from we'll go off to the right, because I feel like I'm more likely to be able to handle them than her.
That's accurate. Yes, so all right, so Zomboys, what is that roll? I make a roll,
Constitution, right? Yeah, con saving throw. DC 14.
All right. Fail. Oh, one zombie. One zombie does not fail, but the other absolutely does.
Nice. All right, so the one that fails will take full damage and will get pushed back 10 feet, and the other one will take half damage and not get pushed back.
Okay.
Ooh, nice. So they'll take 12 thunder damage.
Woohoo. Okay. Cool. 12 thunder damage. All right, and that's the one that's pushed back 10 feet, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's great, because they're...
And then... Hell yeah. And then she will give Lou a Bardic Inspiration die with her bonus action, and that will be her.
How does your inspiration work in this world?
Ooh, I think with the clapping of the thunder and just like the resonance of the prayers, I think there's like the moment as like some lightning catches onto the ground, there's just this moment of stillness and clarity that Lou has to be able to, get in with her knives.
Yeah, it's amazing. You don't know what exactly Aoife did, but those prayers, seem to just repel these zombies on the right side. And there is like a flash as thunder or lightning maybe strikes near them and pushes them back, and the sister just goes, "Oh Lord, please." And she's like mumbling to herself, like, as lightning just lands immediately next to her. So she is, sweating and dragging this guy with all her might.
And then Aoife will take up the arm again as they keep hobbling forward behind, like just right behind Tony.
Just fucking right behind Tony. Yep. Oh God. Okay, so cool. So one at least has been pushed off, and it looks like you did quite a bit of damage to both of these zombies here, which is very good news. So Lou, we come to you. But Lou, with your superior vision, because even though your eyes appear human in this world, they are still drow eyes. And so you still have that incredible vision. And why don't you go ahead and give me a perception check with advantage?
Oh, good, because that was a 1. And that was a 20, because that's how life works.
Whoa! Weird. All right, so with that 20, as you are looking out behind and you're playing rear guard, maybe it's that position that is helping you or something else, but you hear something first, and that kind of draws your focus through the storm and the sounds of the wailing and splelching of the undead and the sounds of combat. You hear a low, measured voice reading something in a language you don't understand. Something in you says Latin, but you don't, like, you've never heard that word as Lou, but you recognize it, and it pulls your focus. And you can see that in the graveyard, maybe about 30 feet off from the church proper, off to the side, there is a figure with a deep, like, hood and, like, long robes. Imagine, like, black, like, cultist robes is the vibe you get. And they have a gloved hand outstretched and appear to be reading something from a long scroll or book that they have in their hands, and an odd glowing light seems to dance around their fingers. And as they are saying something, yet another of these corpses, you see a hand crawl out of the ground as yet another zombie is dragging itself up. So you see that through the flash of all of this.
Gotcha. And are they in the direction that we're going, or from?
Yeah, so they are
Okay.
they are next to the church, but like, say if the church is, it has the four sides, you all are in like the southeast corner, and they appear to be like on the western side of the church, where you can see more of these I guess the nicer mausoleums. So like you see statues of angels and like big crosses, and some of these like little, they look like sheds, but they're made out of marble and fancy over there.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, so Lou is gonna point towards it and be like, I think I found our problem, as she's just like elbowing these things, and 30 feet is still at disadvantage for her, so she's just going to, as we're making our way forward, focus on the zombies coming at them, and she's gonna grab one by the hair and take her cleaver and try to chop its head off.
Woo! Fun. Yeah, so you've got 4 zombies
Metal.
clattering around you, so you've got plenty of options as you try and grab one of these bad boys. So go for it.
All right, that's gonna be a 24 to hit.
Oh, hell yeah. That's the fun thing about zombies. They're very easy to hit. But keeping them down is the problem.
And since I'm right next to all my friends,
Yep.
I will have sneak attack, so that's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus 4, 14 points of slashing damage as I just slash through.
Nice. Yeah, so you see the head, flies off of this thing. And I'm going to get to make a fun con save to see if I live through that. I do not. So as you cleave, like, you slice the head off of this zombie, it goes flying, and as you sever the spinal cord, the rest of the decaying body collapses into a semi-gelatinous pile. So you've got now just 3. Just 3 zombies on your butt. No worries.
And then my bonus action, she's just going to take the hilt of one of her other knives and try to just smash the teeth on the one that's trying to bite her arm.
Love it. Love it. Love this energy. Attack!
That's gonna be a 12.
Hell yeah.
Does that hit?
AC is an 8, kids.
Zombies.
8. They're slow. They're not wearing armor. They're wearing, like, their Sunday best. That's what you're buried in, so.
And that's just gonna be 4 points of damage to its teepees.
Yeah. And as you do, you punch through, and its entire jaw rips off of its face, and you can see, the rotted tongue just waggling now out in the cold air.
And are we able to get movement as we're like pushing through, or is it?
Yeah, I assume
Okay.
you can all move, let's say, the 30 feet, I'm assuming.
Okay.
So the church doors were 100 feet away.
Okay, sweet.
So you are all, 30. So you'll be 70 feet away at the end of this round. Okay, so zombie 2. And tell me, the one whose jaw just flew off, just a feature about it, just so for my notes.
he had a monocle placed over his eye, but now it's just inside his eye socket lodged
Oh,
in.
gross. Monocle / goggle. Love it. Love that. Now it's your contact lens. Here you go. You just invented that. Cool. Cool. Gross. Cool.
Gross cool is the theme of our show.
Gross. Cool. That's why I have the body horror. Cool. Tony, we come to you. You've got 4 of these things now in front of you. And they're strong, way stronger than you thought they were going to be. Something occurs to you, too, like stronger than zombies should be. And you're not sure if the thought was yours or someone else's.
Well, we have a long way to go. So let's try and clear as much of a path as I can. Okay. And we're going to start off with a great big swipe of our greatsword.
Hell yeah.
Whichever one is closest, and that's
all up in your shit.
Ooh. 19 to hit.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Ooh, baby. So the D6 is... That's... Ooh, 8 plus 10. That's going to be 10 slashing damage.
Hell yeah. And do you want to try and go for a head?
Well, always then, yes.
Okay, so basically I get to roll. So there's like a chance that things could get worse, but a chance that you could auto kill it instead of having to knock down its HP all the way. So that's sort of what I'm rolling. So yeah,
I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tying my hair back. So many zombies. Okay. Yeah. So you absolutely cleave through. Another head goes flying. One of these zombies is down, leaving just 3 in front of you.
Okay. Let's then try one more time. I'm going to action surge right away.
Woohoo!
Try and get another one.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay. Let's use our inspiration.
All right.
Try and roll that again.
And Wheaties are coming through.
21 to hit.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yes, BB.
It's like you've been doing this all your life.
And then that's going to be 6 slashing damage.
Cool. Going for a head again?
Another head, please.
All right. Yet again, flying off. So now you have successfully cleaved. I'll say you can get it in just one like really bitchin' swing. You got 2. But those second ones you could feel already. They're like grubby corpse hands like starting to like grab onto your jacket and like your weapons as they're just trying to get you. Anything else for you?
I think that's going to be it.
All right. So you just have the 2 in front of you. So now it's the scary time because it's the zombie turn. Oh boy. And I will say as well, that special thing we all talked about, you can absolutely activate for reactions or whatever the heck. And then I will describe to the audience, I promise, as soon as it comes up, what the heck I'm talking about. But let's do it. So who do we want to start with? The zombies on the left, or the zombies in the front, or the zombies in the back? Anyone feeling brave?
Let's hear it from the zombies in the back.
Zombies in the back! All right. Okay, zombies in the back. So there are 3 left on Lou. Yeah. Yep. Okay, cool. Let's start off with Monocle Zombie. See how we do with this. So they are lunging towards you. All of these things, they have a slam attack. So that's basically they're just like throwing their mass on you and trying to bludgeon you just to knock you down so they can all crawl into a big awesome pile and, devour your flesh. So 14, is that going to hit you?
Nope.
Okay. Second zombie. 15, is that going to hit you?
That will just hit, yeah.
Ooh, all right.
But
Aoife
will use her silvery barb.
Oh!
Cast as a reaction.
Okay.
As just almost instinctively, as she reaches her hand into her bodice, where she pulls out this cross, and she just throws it back and looks back at the one that's at Monocle, who's lunging at Lou, and she says, "Not today." And so it has to roll again and take the roll if it's lower, and then I will choose Tony. The next roll that you make, that's an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you get advantage.
Beautiful. Thank you.
All right, so I rolled a 12 on the first one, so I rolled higher. Sorry, I rolled a 13 on the dice on this one. This zombie, this is like just an edge zombie because it's up 1-1-1. So this,
but that's actually okay because as the zombie goes to attack Lou and lunges forward, it just goes straight through her and face plants, and she looks just as shocked as it does.
Nice. So so using one of your monstrous abilities. Very cool. All right. So go ahead and mark off on your tracker that you've used.
Yep.
Do we see anything like as it phases through you? Does Lou like change color or become transparent, or what happens?
Yeah, you see it does just go straight through her, and in that moment as it makes contact, or where it should make contact, there's like a faint glowing light as it phases through her that kind of stays for a second then disappears, and you see though as it does disappear, a little color seeps away from her lips as they start to go a bit blue.
Cool. All right, dear listeners, so you've just seen there's a little bit more to these heroes. And I guess actually all of you, because Lou, you're figuring out there's a little bit more to this body than you initially thought there was. Something in you crawls forward. Another creature, something comes over you, and you feel yourself change into something else for just a moment as this blow passes through you. And the undead around you suddenly seem familiar somehow as this washes over you. So each of our 3 heroes, these bodies, not only are they human, in quotes, they also are half monster. So each of you has a monstrous side within yourself, a specific monster. And as long as you are in Penny's world, in whatever this world is that you've been cast into, you can call upon that monstrous part of yourself to use its abilities. So for Katie specifically, Lou's body has the ghost feature, the ghost monster. So they are part ghost, part human. So Katie at any time can say that Lou is calling on ghost abilities, basically to accomplish anything you think a ghost might be able to do in the game. Whenever they call upon these abilities, they have a tracker, each of them a monstrous tracker that has 3 marks in it. So whenever you use one of these features, you have to cross off those boxes. If you ever get to a position where your tracker is full and you would add another check on there, so bringing you to a total of 4 or more, your monstrous side takes over and you are going to be consumed by it, and then basically no longer a hero in this world. You are going to become a full-blown monstrous villain for the rest of this story. And at that time, I will absolutely let you run these monsters, but you are going to be full monsters and actively working against our heroes at this point. And
it sounds a little bit fun.
I know.
I wanted betray.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, I'm at 3, but would be really cool if I did right now.
So, I mean, because you can think about it, this world we're in, again, it's like totally inspired by supernatural stuff. So the show Supernatural, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Van Helsing, like that kind of world. So there may be a time when sacrificing yourself to the monster is exactly what you need to do to like win the day for your friends. So keep that in mind. But it's not all bad news with the tracker here, because so sometimes you all can activate the tracker yourselves. So that means you are putting the X in. Sometimes if you really fuck up while you're using one of your monstrous abilities, I might add a tracker, a mark on your tracker. But there are ways to cross out these marks or reset the tracker. So whenever you actively lean into your monstrous abilities in a way that harms you or impedes you or your party, you can remove one of these X's. So this isn't something like random, like, oh no, I would have gotten an X because I, got a 1 on this roll. This is like, I am choosing, like, right now, I like can't cross into this house, right, without being invited. Like, that's something that doesn't always happen to you, but sometimes your monstrous stuff will come up. Or like, I have to do this because I need to eat someone, or I have to, that kind of thing. So, and they're all very story-based. So this is kind of my insertion of like Monster of the Week style games. So yeah. So you all have these monstrous things, and I can't wait to see what our other two are. But we know that Luz, you're part ghost, my friend.
Boo.
Boo. Very cool. All right, so you phased through that hit as it was coming through you. So that first zombie didn't manage to get you. The second one just punches right through you, and both you and the zombie look surprised in this moment as like it passes through you, but the action resumes right immediately. And I don't think anybody else even had time to see that. So then, let's see. What was the question, Nassim?
If it phased through Lou, but does its attempt to make a melee attack still count as something I can react to?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well then, yeah, I would like my sentinel feat to kick in, and if it was within 5 feet, since Lou is just behind me, to make a melee attack back.
I will say
on the zombie.
I will say in this case that's not quite going to work because you're like kind of in a phalanx right now, so you've got like 2 people in between you and Lou, so I can't like logically see a way you could like attack something at the back. But I will say when the 2 zombies on Aoife's left attack, either of them you could swing around and hit with your sword.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, so the third and final zombie that is hitting you, Lou. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so that is going to be a 16 to hit. So that'll hit. So as you like pop back into reality, or matterness, maybe you're so surprised by what just happened, this zombie manages to catch you off guard as it like drags its talons and kind of like falls onto you, and you just have this like reeking undead face, just in yours for a moment as it slams into you. So it's going to be 5 bludgeoning damage as this thing just pummels and launches your body, and you're like struggling with its weight at this moment. Neat. And then let's go zombies on the left. So Aoife, you have these 2 lunging at you. Oh no! One absolutely misses with an 8. And then the second one.
Yep.
Yeah. The second one, a 13. Does that hit you?
That does not.
All right, so these 2 zombies just are, maybe they were scared by you or a thunder or something, but you are deftly dodging them. But the zombie that did not get pushed away on the side of the right is coming in right now to attack the sister. So this is an attack coming in that you could react to if you wanted to, dear Tony.
Oh, then yeah.
as it's lunging for
yeah, no, I thought
priest.
it had to be a successful hit, but I will.
Nope, it's just any attempt at an attack. Here we go. All right, so it's lunging towards the sister.
That's 15.
Ooh, hell yeah, go for it. Roll your damage.
Great.
Which is roll high.
Which is 6.
Okay, cool. So how do you destroy the zombie that was absolutely about to rip out the throat of the sister? Like, how do you stop it in mid-attack?
Since it's just behind me off to the side, I think it's kind of last second that she's able to from the momentum of her first massive swing, try and lift the sword back up, and it goes down to the side, like through the side of its ribs.
Yeah. And this thing,
Straight through to the other side.
Yeah, it was like launching, like diving towards the sister. So you catch it midair as you slam into it, and like its bones explode out of its, ruined chest. And the sister, you just catch her eyes, and she looks at you. Her eyes are wide and terrified. She just nods to you and thanks. It's amazing that she hasn't passed out yet, because this is terrifying, but you managed to save her life because she was absolutely going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those
Any
are
other motherfuckers want to be shishka zombied?
Yeah, I got the 3 in the front. 2 in the front. 2 in the front.
Hell yeah.
Come get it.
Oh, yeah, get it. One's a 10, so bounces off of your shield or whatever. And then a 5, so these zombies cannot get through. You are holding them off. Hell yeah. All right, so you are within 70 feet of the church as we start the top of this round. But we have someone going before you all at this round. So I think in the action, Lou, you had kind of indicated to people when you had seen that black-robed figure, right? So, as the storm is falling and you all are fighting towards this church, you all begin to hear that voice. And it shouldn't be as loud as it is, but you feel like it's getting louder, almost amplified, like by magic, potentially, as these dolorous tones are ringing off across the field here. And the zombies around you can see them all shudder at the beck and command of whatever this thing is saying. So the zombies are definitely reacting to what's going on. And the sister, as this is happening, she lets out a scream and she points like towards the church. And you can see that the air around it is shimmering, almost like a heat wave, like a mirage you would see. But you're in the middle of a storm and it's cold. And she's saying, "Something is happening." Very helpful. And then Aoife, we come to you.
Seeing that individual who's controlling these zombies, she'll shout out, "Perhaps we should go after him, and that'll take care of quite a bit of wreckage we've got here." She'll try and turn towards, and then how far are they away from us now?
The figure or the doors?
The figure.
So the figure is probably about 70 feet. So if the doors are straight ahead of you 70 feet, let's just say 70 feet off and, slightly in a diagonal is where the figure is.
Nice. All right. So she is going to look at them and she just throws a surly string of curses at this hooded figure as she casts vicious mockery targeting them. So they have to make a DC 14 wisdom saving throw.
Okay, I'll pull my wisdom saving throw, huh? And I don't have any resistance to that, so wisdom straight up, let's go. 7.
Nice. So these words, as we hear these rising dolorous tones, and she just shouts in this surly manner over top of them. And he is going to take 4 psychic damage and have disadvantage on the next attack roll they make before the end of their next turn.
Okay.
And then she's going to give one of her bardic inspirations to Tony here.
Okay.
Ooh.
Sweet. Yeah, so the figure...
Get your D8.
As you yell across the field, the figure for the first time kind of you see them, they're not stopping the chant, but the book kind of lowers and that hood turns in your direction as if they're noticing you, maybe for the first time since you've arrived. So you've definitely caught their attention. And anything else for you, Aoife?
That's her turn.
Okay. Then Lou, we come to you. So you got 3 of these things still on your butt.
All right, I will go after the head of Monocle guy.
Okay.
That's natural 20. Thank you, pink die.
Gosh dang!
Amazing. All right.
All right.
Damn.
Let's see. 6, 10, 15,
Amazing.
21, 24, 27 plus
Jesus Christ.
4, 31 points of damage on this head.
You beast!
Oh my god. All right, so you're going through the head for the head of this thing. So how are you chopping off the head? What is your move?
Yeah, I think that at this point she's getting a little bit more haphazard with her swings. And she is still trying to like get her bearings on what had just occurred. And this time she like holds on tightly to her cleaver, thinking maybe it'll slip through, but she holds onto it so tight and hits so hard that it just cleaves through, and then almost in a J.
Hell yeah.
Severs, and she just goes and goes for the other half of the neck.
Yeah, as you slice through and your swing, it's like butter through this thing, and the corpse just like it explodes outwards just with the force like shaking through the rotted body. But we triggered the condition because I also rolled the 20 on this. So right before like this thing, like you're bringing it around and the zombie is like going and it's got its hand like around your throat, basically closing down as your the rest of its body explodes, just leaving this like hand that is currently grappled to your throat, and it presses on you against your windpipe. Even though the rest of the body is gone, this hand is suffocating you as it's around your windpipe. So you are going to take 2 bludgeoning damage as it is crushing and crushing and seems to be attached to you. So you will keep taking damage from it until you get it off.
Okay.
Whew.
Hot damn.
Zombie! But the rest is exploded. So you got 2 more.
Does the hand have hit points? Is it something I can attack with my offhand, or is it like a
you could
win
either
a grapple check
You
situation?
could either attack it, stab into it, or you could, use an action to undo it. I will say if you whiff on trying to stab it on you, that could be very bad for you.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind.
You know what?
Good thing I gave you bardic inspiration.
Stab this thing wrapped around my
because
throat.
Okay, so that is 13 plus 6, 19.
Okay, so yeah, I think
To
with
hit
the 19, you're able to just hit, that right point there where you can like chop off the fingers, right, from the main bulk of the hand, so it like scatters and it doesn't have a way to hold on to you. So just the twitching fingers and wrist of this thing are flopping now in the mud.
You guys just like hear the weird sound of somebody inhaling and saying fuck at the same time.
God damn it! Anything else for you, Lou?
No, just keep moving towards that target.
Hell yeah. All right, Tony. So we come to you. You've got a few options. So you've got the 2 right in front of you here, or you could attack. There's one that is going to be coming towards the sister. I think it is still about 10 feet away, so maybe not that one. But there are the 2 still on Aoife's left. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's the 2
Yep.
on Aoife's left.
They haven't been messed with at all.
Yeah, or the 2 in front of you.
I think Tony is now really distracted by the figure that's at a distance
Mm-hmm.
and controlling everything,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's still so much distance left to cover until we reach the church, and these fuckers are going to continue to come unless we take that guy out.
Mm-hmm.
So her sights are focused on that thing, but because it's so far away, she's like, I can't like leave in time and protect them at the same time. They got to stay close to me. But she's like building up this anger and this frustration that like she kind of starts to vibrate and shake almost. And then like in a second she's gone, and she's like, you see like a figure just zoom over towards the figure off to the side of the church.
Yeah.
And she
Amazing.
engages in her super speed.
Hell
towards this thing.
yes. All right. So mark off 1 on your monstrous ability tracker as you activate your vampiric powers to give you your super speed as you move over there. So we see, I think the other people, obviously, you're moving so fast, it's like a flash, right? They blink and you're gone, and you're there in front of this figure now. Is there anything else about you that indicates or changes about your appearance as this happens? The answer can totally be no.
I don't think anything very obviously changes, except you've seen 2 new fangs just pop up from the top of her mouth, opposite from where they normally are. Yeah, her little vampire fangs pop out as she engages her powers.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so I'll say this basically works like a teleport. So boom, you're like there now in front of this figure. So yeah, if you want to take an action, you want to attack them, you can see now as you appear right by them, they whirl around like with the book in one hand and are trying to draw out a sword right in time to engage with you. And you still really can't see the face of this figure because the hood is deep, but because you did just like activate, your monster ability, I'll say you can smell death on this thing. Like, not just because they're raising the dead, but you think this thing is also dead.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm going to go straight for another decapitation with my bardic inspiration.
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you can save your bardic inspiration until after you roll. So you can always just roll and then see if you need it and then spend it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can just hold on to the bardic inspiration until you need it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I rolled a 5, so plus my thing. That was a 10, so plus my bardic inspiration.
Oh, you have silvery barbs on, right?
Yeah, so the next attack roll you make, or the next roll that you make will be with advantage.
Oh, okay.
So you're rolling that with advantage, because I believe that
then, okay, so
the next one.
That was a 19 to roll plus 5, so
there you go. So
24
save that.
To hit.
Yeah, save that bardic inspiration. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you attacking this thing with your fangs are out now? So do you want to use your fangs or do you want to use your sword?
It smells like death, so I'm not super inclined to use my fangs. But given that she's like, I think she's gonna use her sword.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So you absolutely you slice through this thing, and it does move very quickly in reaction. So you absolutely get a hit off it, but you're not going to be able to decapitate it. This ain't no zombie that is at you. Okay. So go ahead and roll your normal damage.
That was 10.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So you bring down the slice at this thing, and as you're cutting through dead flesh, you can see the yellow ichor of undeath creep over this thing, and the hood kind of falls back, and you are looking at the face of, it's sort of like a zombie with like the pale skin that's like drawn over the waxy skin of a corpse, and this like long yellowish white hair, stringy hanging from its sides. But its eyes are filled with this red light that track your movements, and it seems to be more intact and less, rotted than the other ones. So you're not sure what kind of undead this is, but it's clearly much better made than the rest, whatever the hell it is. And it has armor on it. So as you're digging into it, it's definitely a more potent foe than the others you've faced so far. But your hit lands true across it, and the thing does finally manage to draw its sword and hisses something at you, again, in a very strange language that you don't know.
And it has disadvantage because of vicious mockery.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, it's not its turn yet, but I'll keep that in mind.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. Next one is with disadvantage. All right, anything else for you, Tony?
She hisses back because she can do that now.
Yeah. Death versus death. Cool. So we know two now. We know we have a vampire. We know we have a ghost. I wonder what young Aoife will be. It's not a werewolf. Just saying right now. Okay. We didn't do the trio. So cool. Cool. So that is the end of your turn then, Tony, which will bring us to our zombies. And dear Phalanx, we don't have our fearsome protector. She disappeared in the blink of an eye, which is frightening. And now you see her over there. That's probably pretty surprising. But that...
I hate it when that happens. Just never. What the fuck?
Why? So let's see. So we've got the 2 zombies on Aoife's left. The 2 left on you now, Lou, right? 2 left on Lou. Should have drawn a little zombie diagram. Shame on me. And there is still one on the right now that's back from Thunderwave and gonna attack the sister. And then Tony left behind 2 zombies in the front. Oh boy. Okay. Front. All right. So the 2 on Lou. Let's start with you 2 because that's the easiest. So here we go. First one, clumsy swing towards you and misses. Second one, it's going to be 22 to hit.
That will definitely hit.
This one is like punching into your body and like trying to like stab through at your ribs, and just the sheer force of it, the impact is something got bruised, maybe your kidney. That's gonna be 5 bludgeoning damage as you take a sharp crack to your ribs. And then, all right, so I have the 2 in the front and the 2... I guess the 2 on Aoife's left are definitely going to attack Aoife. And then those other 3, we'll see who they go for. So a 12, not going to hit you, right?
Nope.
Okay. Ooh, a 19.
AC 14 for Aoife.
A 19?
That will do it.
All right. So it's coming in. Zombies. And this one's tall, so it kind of topples onto you and is smashing you with its body weight. So that's going to be 6 bludgeoning damage.
Nice.
And then, so 1 missed, 1 hit. So those are the 2 on the left. The one on the right is definitely going to go for the sister. Ooh, okay. Luckily, she manages to dodge out of the way in time as this thing is like clumsily trying to get towards her. Nice. So she just says a prayer and ducks, and brings down the Gravekeeper's body with her as she does. So the 2 in the front, I'm going to randomly roll to see if they attack Aoife or if they attack the sister. So, there we go. All right, Aoife for the first one, lunging towards you. Ooh, 17.
Oh, yes.
All right, 4 bludgeoning damage. So now you have 2 of these things piled on top of you, and you feel yourself sinking down as they are trying to drag you. And with the weight, your feet are literally slipping down into the muddy earth of the cemetery. And let's see. Oop, okay. Well, the other one, it's clearly the zombies see an opportunity now as you start to slink downward. So it ignores the sister and also piles on top of you. So you've got 3 zombies now clawing at your body. And you swear you feel teeth on the back of your neck as these 2 are trying to drag you down. But the third one cannot find purchase as the other 2 are just having a feast. So that is all the zombies. So we're back up at the top with our dear friend who's squaring off against Tony. Okay, so we are starting now at the top of the round, and it is our black-robed cultist friend who is now squaring off with a very, very fast Tony with fangs. Hissing. It's great. And so, like I said, they managed to draw their sword last time. And as you're looking at this blade, Tony, there is clearly something supernatural going on with it. It's like this odd curved sword in a style you've never seen before. Or I guess your character has Eastern features, so maybe you have seen like a scimitar before. So a very weird thing in this setting, but and their blade, the edges of it are covered in this blue scroll that seems to, like, is it glowing or is it just reflecting? You're not really sure. But as this blade is coming in at you, those are the weird thoughts that cross your mind. Oh boy, I've never actually...
With disadvantage?
Yes, with disadvantage, of course. All right. Oh, that's weird. So, all right, so this is the sword. It has disadvantage on that. Oh, okay, well, 19 or 14, I might still hit you. So an 18 to hit? That will?
Mm-hmm.
So the sword, yeah, so in the moment, you know, you're feeling so fast and like you lean to the left, you're clearly seeing the swing come in, but it was a feint. At the last minute, they undercut exactly where they are. So not only is this thing more like powerful than the rest of the undead, it's clearly also a trained fighter. So it brings in this flashing, glowing sword, and it is gonna cut you. It's gonna cut you for 9 slashing damage. And then it is, as it's slashing you with the sword, it reaches a hand out and tries to like land it squarely like on your chest, like where your heart would be. Or I guess it is, because you're part human. So a 19 to get ya. So yeah, it grabs at your chest, and you're like, what's going on? And you start to feel very cold. Like, you've noticed that this body always feels a little cold compared to your normal ones, but like it feels like ice starts to flood through your veins as like this magical pulse travels through you. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please. So you feel your life is being drained away.
Ooh, thank fucking goodness. 22.
Okay. So you don't know if it's your natural stamina, or this thing hiding inside you, but something like shakes this off. But you are still going to take damage. So here we go. Boop, boop, boop. So you're going to take 7 necrotic damage as your human flesh is rotting and decaying at the touch of this thing. But you don't get the super bad penalty. So that's good. That's great news. Yay!
Great.
This is great. All right, so that is its thing, its whole turn. So Aoife, we are now at you. 2 zombies on your left. Oh, 3 zombies, I guess. 2 on you.
3 zombies.
2 on you. 1 like right by you, and then 1 by the sister on the right, and then the 2 on Lou in the back.
So these 3 zombies basically piling onto me, she's going to upcast
and now you're 40 feet away. Sorry,
wave
from the church doors. 40 feet.
Nice. Excellent. But yeah, she is going to, as she's feeling this pressing in of this cold and wet and sloughing decayed flesh, and these human teeth that are trying to sink back into the back of her neck. And she just like clenches in, and then she just shoots her fists out, and with this bright flash of light, she upcasts a thunder wave. So I need each of them to make a DC 14 Constitution saving throw.
Oh, yeah. All right, so all 3, I think, are easily going to be hit. Fail. Wait, DC 13?
14.
Okay. I got a 13, so that was a fail. And then another 13. What the heckies? All right, they all fail. You go Nova.
All right, so they're all as she goes supernova, and there's just like this for a brief moment, and they are going to take 13 thunder damage and get shoved back 10 feet.
Fuck you. All right, I am gonna say at least one of them just totally explodes. In this like burst of light that comes from you, and it's and you don't know if it's because of the thunder, the rain, or something. It just something comes over you, and you just hear the sister go, like, Lord be praised, as you glow, and these things like scatter off of you. So one is dead.
Nice.
So that leaves 2, and I'll say it was definitely one of the ones that was maybe trying to bite you. So you feel better about that. 2 left, and they're 10 feet away from you.
And that will be her turn.
And very hurt. Cool. All right, then Lou, we come to you with the 2.
I think that now that we have one less over here, we're going to help defend. We're going to go ahead and try to get the one by the sister.
Cool.
So that she's, she's
it's
okay.
a pretty good bet. Yeah, you can turn around and absolutely, try and...
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead. Roll. I'm going to use my bardic inspiration, because that's butts. So that's going to be a 13 to hit.
A 13 will do.
Nice. So she's just gonna like reach across and whiff at this thing.
You going for the head?
I'm always going for the head.
Okay. You know what the consequences are now. I don't know what.
I know what they are, but I'm in the moment and I'm loving it.
I was made for this.
5, 6, 7 plus 4 is 11 plus 4, 15 points of damage.
Yeah, how do you just eviscerate this thing?
Yeah, so she just goes ahead and takes one of her knives and like almost like a boomerang, like swings it, and you just see it just like slice around them through the neck.
Hell yeah.
And she's like, you see her like, fuck yeah, do like a little fist bump. And then as that viscera spatter comes her way, she's gonna turn back around to one of hers and offhand attack, just stab it at the clavicle.
Yeah. Knifey.
And that's a 17 plus 6 is a 23.
Heck yeah.
And that's just gonna be a little baby offhand for 1 point of damage.
All right. Yeah. So you stick into this thing, like roasted meat, and some of that like ichor shoots back out as you do so. But it is still up. Okay. All right, and then Tony, we come to you. So you're hurting a little bit. Clearly, this thing in front of you has some magic powers, which is never a good thing in this world.
Do I still have advantage with those silvery barbs?
No, it was just on the one.
Damn. Okay.
You have your bardic inspiration that you can still spend to get that extra d6, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could also go full monster.
Well, I do want to drain the fucking life out of this thing now, because it literally just tried to do that to me.
Yeah.
So, how about a little taste of your own medicine? And with her shield, she wants to try and like, almost like a hug, like it's embracing the thing. Use her shield to bring it in closer. With her other hand, like push its head to the side and go for a bite on its neck with her fangs.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah. So, all right. So you're using a monstrous point, or because your fangs are already out, you're just doing a standard attack? Like, do you want to go like
standard attack.
Okay, standard attack. All right. So go ahead and roll for it. And you can just use your normal weapon bonus on this, I'll say, because you're proficient and strong.
Yeah, dirty 20.
Dirty 20, nice. Yeah, so you sink into this thing, and you do what you normally do, like to like pull, the life out of this thing as like the hunger guides you through this process. But like as you drain it, like putrid rot like pours into your mouth, and you are sickened by this as this happens. But I mean, you are biting down on it, and you're draining quite a bit of the fluid that is keeping this thing up. So go ahead and roll. Let's call this a D10 for your fangs.
Ooh, okay. Where are you? Okay. And let's say with my strength, that's going to be 6 damage.
Okay. All right. So 6 damage. And I am going to mark off one of your X's, because as you taste this undead flesh and it's not living, it is like poison to you. It's like you just swallowed like a mouthful of battery acid. So I think this brings out, I think this causes some kind of visual change in you, is like the penalty as you're crossing that off. So what happens to you? How do you become more monstrous?
I think her claws start to come out, and the gloves that she was wearing are shredded through, and you see these elongated like 3-inch claws come out of her gloves.
Yeah, and it's like, your fingernails, but it's not quite that, because your fingers also elongate and become almost spike-like, right? As you're shoved into this thing. And your face flushes with that same yellow, like acrid color as the shit that you just put in your mouth. Ugh, yeah. So that was so now you know, don't eat undead or dead things. that's like poison. Drinking dead bodies is like poison to you. So now you are at 2 marked off on your tracker.
Got it.
Okay, so with that, then was there anything else for you, Tony? So that was counted as 1 attack. Did you want to do like
that's
a bonus?
That's all I can do.
Okay. All right.
No.
And then we've got our zombies. Now there are only 4 remaining, which is very good news. So the 2 at Aoife that you blasted away are shambling back towards you. So they get next to you with their turn, but they don't actually manage to attack. But the 2 that were on Lou still are at close enough range and are coming at you. Coming at you, Lou. All right. 19 to hit. Yeah. How you doing back there, kid?
Yes.
You got some damage. Oh, you're still muted.
You're muted.
You're muted, but...
I'm okay because we had 7 temporary hit points.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God.
Woo! Breakfast. Thank God. All right. Because that's 7 bludgeoning damage as this thing comes in, and it hits you again, just like ramming at you at the spot it did before, and you feel a crack, and you know that at least one of your ribs is broken at this point, maybe 2. And second one, only a 13 to hit.
Nope, that won't hit.
So the other one you managed to like elbow out of the way or whatever, but this one got a sneaky low punch in, that bastard. So those
it's always the sneaky little punches that'll get you.
Little fuckers. All right. So those were the 4 zombies. So I will say, so now we're back up at the top of the round. So you all are 10 feet away from the doors to the church. So I will say, if you want to use your turn to like just get inside, you can absolutely do that when it comes to or I guess what's the group collectively deciding to do? Because the sister would definitely like to run inside. But she
can do that.
But
Let's give her that.
But she can't do that unless Aoife helps, because the sister will not go inside unless she can also bring the unconscious man. So
yeah, Aoife would definitely help her sister that, because Aoife definitely wants to get them to the safe point as soon as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And Lou, are you going to run with them, or are you going to stay out here and fight It is a church looming up above you, which is consecrated ground. I don't know if that means anything to you where you are at, or if you would know that, but it might bother you, it might not, depending on how you want to play your monstrous side.
I don't think that, I mean, for a ghost, you can be a fine ghost. You could be a nice ghostie who's fine.
Yeah, and again, like, there's nothing like gonna inherently bad in this world, right? Like, it's if I choose to make it like a thing, like because you did something in reaction, but sometimes it might bother you, sometimes it might not, but it's an opportunity.
Yeah. How far, I mean, it's gonna depend. If I can like throw daggers like to go help Tony at like a moment, then I can do that. Oh, actually, you know what'd be fun? Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help get to the church. And then as I'm like standing there in that moment, like looking over at Tony, and I see that she's not looking good, Lou's eyes are gonna go completely white as her body standing in the doorway just kind of goes limp. And now my dogs are upset.
Mom's a ghost. Our mom turned into a ghost. I'd be upset too.
Oh, definitely.
I'm being too
Anyway, her eyes are gonna go completely white and her body's gonna go limp, as she's just going to send her spirit into this zombie body and give Tony a moment to run away as she freezes it up.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Cool. I love this. So, all right. So go ahead and cross off one in your tracker. So both Lou and Tony run at 2. Aoife doesn't have any.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So, yeah. So you jump into the body of this cultist undead thing, right? With the sword. Okay. What is that? What does that feel like? What do you experience?
It just feels like when you're wearing jeans and you go into a pool, but everything you're wearing is jeans.
Yeah.
And you also
Your
feel like
jeans. Yeah.
But plus like bugs underneath the jeans, because I'm sure there's a few in there. It's not fun.
Yeah. Especially because I think because it's undead, it's worse because you can feel like the rot, and like stepping from a living body like yours, which makes sense to that, is it's slimy and uncomfortable. What are you having the body do? Like, what does Tony see happen as you just take full possession of this thing?
Yeah, I think for a moment it almost looks like a video game glitch, like it like T-poses, and then just like you see like it look down and then its eyes look up, which are glowing the same white, which is as Lou's, which is different from how they were. And you just see like its gross, rotted mouth open up, and you hear like a distant Lou's voice just going, "Run away."
Yeah. So you see, Lou, this body is like twitching, and you can tell, Lou, this thing is fighting you. Like, you feel something there trying to fight you. So it's just twitching and like trying to hold onto the sword in front of you. Tony.
Yeah, I think Tony can sense it right away too, because like she's literally draining this thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, this something's not right. This is different.
Yeah.
And then she releases and sees this like weird internal struggle happening, and hears your shaky voice and doesn't really want to back away just yet. It's like, well, this is the right time,
the perfect time to
kill
it. Yeah, you could absolutely, if you hit it right now, you could absolutely kill it. It's an auto strike. This thing is incapacitated. You could coup de grace.
Yeah, I think that's what she wants to do. So let's go for a swing before she runs.
Does it occur to you that this might be something that might kill your friend?
No. I don't think so.
Legit.
Okay. Well, here's the thing I was trying to lead you into. I think this is a good opportunity to earn back, to cross off one of your exes. Because if your vampiric, like, your rage and your anger and your desire to fucking kill this thing overrides the possibility that you might be murdering your friend, that is a great, like, you could absolutely mark off one of your exes if you acted on that. Because that is your monstrous nature overcoming
into that predatory instinct.
Yeah. So this is a good example of that. So if that's kind of what's happening here, then I would say we can totally lean into that.
Or you can kill them.
Oh, I mean, yeah, so
Or
you would kill him. Yeah.
That's what it would be doing, yeah.
So killing him, it might be actively harming you or an ally. So that could be what this is, so...
I want you to know that I won't judge you no matter what happens.
That is her instinct right now. I want to kill it.
And I think that instinct, it's the monster. Or you're not sure what it is. In fact, it's hard to tell, especially now. What is your instinct? What is the monster slayer's? And then what is the monster's? All three are conflicting. And so in this moment, so go ahead and cross that off as you bring down your sword to, like, destroy the body that your friend's spirit has jumped into.
That is 21 to hit.
Fuck yeah, you don't even have to hit. Matters. This is like you can take your fucking time. So how do you can take your time to, like, however you want to destroy this body. So what is, like, the cruel thing you do? And again, because I think this is a thing, like, your monstrous nature, what's the cruelest way you can kill this? Because that is what is going to give the monster in you the most pleasure.
Well, claws being out, fangs are out. She just ripped into this thing with her fangs. So now that there's a solid gash in its neck, she's gonna tear her claws into that opening and just rip apart the head from its body.
Yeah, and the force of your monstrous power, you feel that full, like, beautiful revel in it as the strength of the predator fills you, and you rip a human body in half, like, and viscera just flies in all directions. It's like, a red confetti that just delights your spirit as this enemy is gone. And you hear the splattering of its, like, rotted organs on everything. Lou, what does it feel like when you die?
Yeah, I think that for a second, like, she feels almost on her own body. She, like, in her mind, she feels that same pain ripping from her neck. And you see, like, as this hole opens, that, like, phantom return to her body, and she immediately on the floor collapses, gasping, holding her neck.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So you are not physically harmed by this, but you experience every sensation, all the pain, the horror of that moment as if it had happened to you. Like one of those vivid dreams where you wake up from and you were sure that you just died. And yeah, you collapse on the floor and just feeling that. I think probably a little bit of betrayal. Your friend just killed you. It's hard to shake the psychic energy of what just happened. But yeah, you are okay. And you are back down now. That indulging in that, Tony, made you feel better. So you can cross off one of those X's and kind of brings you back to yourself. Cool.
Ooh, you full up, girl, aren't you?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Oh, no, she's not full up.
Real scary.
So no, killing took away one of the X's.
Oh.
Because it was a bad thing, right? So now you're back. Now you're down to one. So when you indulge in the monstrous nature in a way that hurts or yourself or your allies, that's when you reset the tracker, so you can do more. Does that make sense?
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah. So, like, Lou, if you had like a ghost thing, like if you were driven to possess someone or you like acted out of, rage in this moment at being betrayed, like that's a very ghost thing to do, right? Demand wrath, or you just started like a poltergeist fit, right? And started throwing things around. That would be a good way. Because terrible idea in this situation, but that would reset your tracker 1. So now, Tony, that was good for you because you're back down to 1.
Amazing.
So that's the game. It's like pushing my monster to get good things, but you can also fuck yourself over to be able to do more good things later, is the cycle. Cool. So as this being drops, and that book that they were holding, now that they managed to hold in the hands, but like in the splatter and gore and the rain of it, there's that moment just of joy that over you, Tony, as like just the carnage. And then when the rain kind of patters down and your heart stops racing and you see where you are and all the blood and flesh around you, you notice that all across this church, all of the zombies are dropping. Just like hitting the deck as whatever magic was animating them is gone. It ceases to be the moment that chanting stops. And you hear a wet splash as something falls from where maybe the hand of this thing was. And something is glowing in the dirt, in the mud, wherever that landed, probably a few feet away from you.
Towards it. What is that?
Yeah, it's glowing with like a golden light. It's like almost like a glow stick. Jen, that's the level of something. And you see that book. It's kind of transformed. It's not a full book anymore, but it looks like a page, like a long, large sheet of parchment. And even though rain is falling on it and mud is like caked up around it, it doesn't seem to be getting wet or ruined. And you can see, the script on it is not moving in the rain, but that page is just lying there in the dirt where the book fell.
She picks it up.
Yeah. And all the zombies around you, it's the like dropping sound. And I think as you pick up the page back in the church, so as this was happening, right, you had just managed to, like, the minute you crossed the threshold of this church, you had seen, it's like the zombies, like a force field had appeared, right? They were trying to like bat at this. There was clearly an invisible line that they could not cross. And you had seen more and more of these things swarming up. And I think there was probably a real bad moment when Aoife and the sister and the unconscious dude were standing there. And then Lou just like hit the deck, went unconscious, body limp. But now she's back and like coughing and choking on the ground. And the sister runs to your side. You find her in your face. And despite everything she's been through and the blood and the gore and like the torn clothing, she reaches out a warm hand to you. And it feels so warm on your skin, especially after whatever you just did. You feel cold like ice. And she reaches a warm hand and she looks at you with her like big cornflower blue eyes. And she says, "Are you all right?"
Yeah. And she's like looking up into these big eyes, suddenly noticing them. She like blushes and she's like, "I'm fine. Thank you. I'm good." And like pushes herself off. And she's like, "How are you? Any bites?"
She, like it didn't even occur to her that she should check, historic, and through like the open doors of the church that obviously you had kicked open, like as you are moving into the space, you all start to hear bodies, like the sound of bodies splotching into mud that the entire ground have turned into here. And you see these zombies dropping as this happens. And the sister just like leans down on the ground, puts her hand so she is on all fours and just like puts her forehead to the ground, and is just prayers of thanks are just spilling out of her as she sees the undead falling.
Well, I'll leave you to this. then.
And you see the prayers now turn into the very human, like, oh my god, the danger is past and it's stopping. And like just the complete, like the dry, like the what she's just, it's the time to be brave is over and she's a mess. So she's going to be despondent. Yeah. If you three want to meet up and chat.
While she is like, heaving and like just fully gripped by this like terror and panic, Aoife is going to very slowly and just very calmly kneel down beside her and take her by the hand and like will look so deeply into her eyes, and she will use her monstrous power.
Cool.
And as it's just for this just absolute most fleeting moment, there's just this sudden burst of this like honeysuckle fragrance that just sort of soothes everything and takes over like the mildewy wet wood and stone scent that's in this church, and it just smells so like the sweet balm of summer. And she says, "You'll be all right, you've been through a lot," and we'll use that to calm her down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you do and you unleash this on her, like where you touch her skin, it becomes warm, and she looks up at you, and like the tears that have streaked her face like immediately dry as she looks up at you, and you just see a little bit of a glazed expression come up as she catches your gaze, and she just looks at you with adoration, and she smiles like she doesn't have a care in the world, and she says, "How could I ever be upset again? You are heaven sent."
And Aoife will just sort of like lean in, like very, just in this very sort of dewy kind of way, and brush a hair back from her face, and will say, "You're doing the Lord's work. You best keep a level head if we are to make it through the rest of this."
Mm-hmm.
And like is like holding that like enthralling sort of gaze.
Oh yeah, as you brush her hair, you see her body shudder with like pleasure as she looks at you, and she kind of takes a deep breath as she is fully ensorcelled by you.
Lou is just standing behind all this, having been struck by those corn blue eyes for a second, and having felt a little flush. She was like, what did she just say that gets this fucking reaction?
That's a
I'm
fucking
gonna have to write
nun!
this shit down.
God! Yeah. Does anything, so the scent of honeysuckle and stuff, does anything else change to indicate your monstrous fairy nature?
I think just the light in the room just naturally gets sucked out, and like everything becomes a little bit gray around her. But Aoife, she becomes just bright and
colorful,
vibrant as she sort of glimmers against this gray, drab landscape.
Yeah, it's like that exact same thing that happens when you step into the wilds, that feeling of everything is just so much about you, the sensory overload that is you. Yeah, absolutely. Increases. So yeah, the sister will be hanging on your every word. She's fine now, like not a care in the world after that. She's just hanging on exactly what you want her to do next.
Well, if you want to step back from this holy woman, I think you might be
married
getting
to
her into
God.
some trouble.
No.
And as she says that, Lou is like pulling a set of gloves out of her apron and pulling them over her hands, where you see her fingertips have gone slightly translucent after she came back to her body.
Yeah. That's
Aoife very coyly flips her hair back behind her ears. Her hair that, it's these like now very messy, buns. That
perfect
sort of
bedhead. Like,
yeah. She like steps away from the sister, leaving the sort of like lingering hand that sort of traces across the top of her shoulder blades, and will saunter over to Lou and Tony and be like, "All right, well, we've made it to the church." And she'll, lean in with a whisper, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah. And you can also tell her to like go away or like tend to the guy or something.
Yeah.
She'll absolutely do that. So you all three can talk by yourselves.
Yeah, she'll be like, do you tend to him?
Off you go.
Yeah, and she goes, okay. So happy to. And she goes, she's like, I'll get my bag. And she disappears and, gets her healing herbs or whatever. Because not magic. Nobody is magic except for you fuckers in this world. So, yep.
Tony hasn't fully entered the church yet. She is still standing just outside holding that paper because she just took in a lot of that undead and she's not sure if she can even enter.
Oh, yeah.
But she just feels naturally really uneasy about going in there. She's like, I don't think I'm meant to be in there.
Cool. Do you want to, is that like just a feeling or do you want that to be like a hard, I cannot go in there? Because if you make it a hard, I cannot go in there, that might cure another of your exes. But if it's just a general uneasiness, that's totally fine.
I think it's something she might want to test out, but she just feels like I don't belong in there. Like it doesn't feel right.
So now it's just a
right
feeling.
now it's just a feeling.
Just a feeling.
Yeah,
for sure.
But she's like out just outside the door with this paper, like that thing dropped something.
Lou walks out to go meet Tony in the middle of putting on one of the glove under her other hand, but right before she does, she smacks Tony across the shoulder with it. She's like, you fucking killed me.
I mean, not really. I thought, it was just the right time. Like,
okay,
you gave me an open route there.
Yeah, you opened up my neck and broke it off my body is what I felt. So let's just not do that again because it might make me a bit tense.
Well, I think it works out pretty well for both of us. I think we make a great team. I think you just, you set me up and I took the shot. So
she slaps you on the other shoulder with the glove. I don't agree. And puts her hand in it. She's like, but moving on. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, Aoife will saunter over now.
And you, young lady, keep it in your pants.
I am just attending to the needs of a sweet lady who needed some reassurance.
Sounded like you were after her sweet in the form of a honeypot over there to us watchers, ma'am.
She rolls a shoulder back and like, as if in a so what if I was sort of gesture.
Youths.
Well, what does this paper say? Tony wants to.
Yeah. So as you look at the paper, it has seemed to stop glowing since you're not sure when exactly it happened, but like after you found it and it was safely in your hands, it stopped. Like the glow was helping you find it, and then now that you have it, it's gone away. And as you look at the ink on the page, you can tell that it's very it's beautiful, like calligraphy, handwriting, but as you try to read it, you can't. It's not like it's in a language you don't know. It's just you read it and it's like the words scatter across the page and change and like shift. And you just can't read what it says. Like, it looks like you should be able to. It looks like real words. And then when you try to focus on it, it just, they scramble across the page again. And it's not actively doing it. It's like your mind is rejecting this. It's like, almost like if you crank dyslexia up to, 20.
Well, I guess as of right now, we don't know what the hell it is.
Well, the Sister Dorothea mentioned earlier, the litany. Perhaps this is it. What are you doing standing out in the rain? Get inside. She'll say to Tony.
I'm fine out here. I don't really like churches.
service is really long.
Yeah.
But I mean, where do we even go? And she like looks around at this graveyard, kind of like seeing like it just keeps going. Like it's not like a contained weird space that they're in. And she's like, I don't even know where to begin other than who's Saint Oslo? And I guess we have to.
Oslo, a name you've heard before. In fact, the sign up above you, the Pendragon Church, it's also a name you've heard before.
Oh.
Dorothea. Wasn't that Dot's full name? That changeling you met? Weird. And as you stand around, almost like what happens in a story, at the moment the heroes have no idea what's happening. The sister comes back from another room she must have disappeared into, and she is holding a box about the size of a shoebox, but it is beautifully ornate, like this carved wooden box gilded with gold. Clearly this is precious, the way she's walking with it as well, with reverence. She even has like a purple silk cloth over her hands, so she's not even directly touching the box. As she approaches each of you, and Aoife, she looks at you and kind of smiles and sighs, and then gets a hold of herself and addresses you all and scoots a little bit closer to the door so she can talk to you as well, Tony, though she seems confused why you're not inside. And she says, well, thank you for all you have done. As promised, St. Oslo's remains, and the litany, of course, is in there as well. We will miss having it here, but it will be much safer in Tilmore. The priest is right. I am afraid, times being what they are, there's not much sense in me running this little church anymore.
Well, we'll do what we can to protect them, and when the time is right, we'll seek to restore them to their rightful place.
Yes, of course. You said you were sent by the priest, right? Here, actually, I have a letter for him. He can perhaps pass it on to the bishop on my behalf. Mill, unfortunately, doesn't come here, but she hands you a letter as well that is addressed to His Holiness Hugo de la May. He was the one
Yoink.
who hired you to come here, was he not?
Indeed he was.
Yeah. Something in you has a vague sense of like, yeah, that was what we were doing here.
Hugo.
It feels familiar to you somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, acting on impulse and hoping that reading a letter addressed to him will clarify what it is to help maybe restore what it is that help us get a better sense of what's happening. We'll accept it from the sister with an extra lingering like glance of her fingers across dots.
You see, her chest rises and falls, and even underneath the full body black that she's wearing, her heart seems to race as you do so. And she does tap the letter and says, it is a private matter. From me to the priest, I would appreciate if you didn't read it. She giggles and looks at you.
And Aoife will nod and accept it. Thinking, totally gonna read this shit later.
Totally gonna read this immediately.
Yeah.
And she says, well, I have a long... she looks at the kind of overcast sky and says, day ahead of me, cleaning things up. But you should be on the road. It should take you only an hour or so to reach Tailmore at this rate. Hopefully, well, the earlier you can travel, the less chance there are that monsters will be on the road. And I do wish you all a safe journey. Thank you for everything.
We're happy to help, sister. When she says sister, she like looks Aoife directly in the eyes.
Yeah, and she does. She bows to you all, and again says a prayer and like crosses herself. And as you do, I think both probably Lou and Tony would be a little like just like a weird. It's like if someone shocks you, like that kind of like she like crosses and says a prayer for you. It's just a little weird. Aoife, you fine. You fine. Yeah. So, a couple things you seem to have learned. You seem to have been hired to come here previous to this. So perhaps the bodies you jumped into of these people, they were monster hunters sent to get back whatever is in this box. And apparently you've heard remains, you've heard litany, so who fucking knows? You were hired by some priest in the town of Tailmore, which is apparently about an hour away by road. This guy was named Hugo. Yeah, so you've jumped into the middle of this story. And as the rain lets up just a little bit, you can see that, yeah, the sun must be rising behind these thick clouds. There's some ambient light, but not enough to make anyone uncomfortable. But clearly there's a lot of secrets, and you've been dropped into something that is so much bigger than you understand. And that's where we're going to end this episode for today. So thank you everybody so much for joining us. We threw some curveballs, some new mechanics in here. I thought it was fun. I like getting to play with new genres. I don't know how you all feeling.
Incredible.
That was blast.
Yeah.
Love killing zombies. No remorse.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. And here we are. This is like the intro to the supernatural thriller. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. But yeah, like I said, thank you all so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this, please do like, subscribe if you're watching on Twitch. Make sure you give us a sub there. Watching on YouTube, sub, like, tell your friends to be here. If you're listening in podcast form, thank you so much. Leave us a like, a rating and review, please. It really helps grow the show and get our metrics up. So thank you so much for joining us there. We always like to take some time at the end of our show to say a huge thank you to all the folks who donate to us monthly on Patreon. Patreon is a really cool website where folks like you can go and give support, monetary support to the creators you love. So even for as low as $1 a month, you get access to so much good stuff, hundreds of hours of bonus episodes, a lot of other fun stuff. So please, if you enjoy the show, if you think we're worth at least $1, head on over there and throw us some love on Patreon. And we like to take time to thank our top tier Patreons, so our Patreon donors at the Pharaoh's Drinking Mate tier and our Arnie's cohorts level. So thank you so much, Cody Becker at Cody Rolls4 on Twitter.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks, Curry.
Thank you, Muffin at the one on Drury Lane on Twitter.
Thank you so much, Nissa McKinnon.
Thank you, Richie113 from our Discord server.
And Farrah's Drinking Mates. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Markali.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you, Fable.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Tony, our boy, Tony. Amazing. And let's see. I think news. I don't think we had any news this time, so I think that's it, right?
Just our usual. Just our usual urban shadows that occurs on our Wednesdays between our campaign 2 streams. So if you're into this sort of like filling up tracks and then depleting them by leaning into your flaws, you will love Urban Shadows, powered by the Apocalypse system, a system which is all about the exchanging of favors and leveraging your friends against your enemies and your enemies against your friends to claw your way to the top.
Yes.
And so that you can catch that every other Wednesday between our campaign 2 streams at 6:30 p.m. PST here on our Adventure Maidens Twitch channel.
Heck yes! And if you want to catch up on the backlog of episodes, that all goes on our YouTube channel, so you can see all the episodes on YouTube. Super great stuff. All right, well, I think that's it. So, everybody, I've been your Dungeon Master, Celeste Konowich.
Hello, I'm Katie, and I played the very Sathir Drow Rogue.
I'm Nassim, and I was your half-orc fighter / half-vampire fangy fighter, Tony Silvertail.
And I have been your balmy bard, Aoife Flannery.
Oh, boy. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining us. Until next time,
Venture!